Hey guys, I'm Dr. Horschig, and today I'm going to teach you how to fix tight hip flexors without ever stretching.
Get up and get down, get up and get down.
Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping by the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about tight hip flexors and why you can stretch and stretch and stretch and still feel so stiff and tight in that area. Now, to understand why this happens, we have to first understand something called lower cross syndrome. Now, what is lower cross syndrome? Well, there was a guy named Professor Vladimir Yonder that worked with a number of patients decades ago and saw these emerging patterns over and over again of over-facilitated hip flexors, over-facilitated back lumbar extensors, and under-facilitated glutes with under-facilitated or underactive abdominals. So we saw these patterns of crossed problems in the body where we're overactive on two areas and underactive on certain areas. Now, here's the thing, is that a lot of times people will feel stiffness and a lot of tension in the front side of their hip flexors, and all they will do is attack one part of the problem. They don't ever look to other areas of the body and understand the full complexity of why that area is even tight in the first place and what may be weak that's creating that stiffness in the first place. So what we're gonna do today is teach you first how to address that stiffness you feel on the front side of your body, and then also what you can do to hit all those other areas of the body that have problems as well, so you can fully fix the problem. So let's start off with this. Instead of stretching those hip flexors, let's just do a little bit of soft tissue work. It's gonna help take away a little bit of that stiffness feeling, but in a different way than stretching. So you're gonna take a lacrosse ball, and I want you to get right into that area. Find your ASIS, that bony part of your pelvis, and let's go just under into the inside. That's where that hip flexor is gonna run. We're gonna get down onto the ground, and we're gonna position that ball right there, okay? And you're gonna slowly roll right into that area. Find those spots that hurt a little bit, a little tender, and I want you to sit on them for about maybe 30 seconds to a minute. Now, if these are nice and stiff, this is gonna hurt just a little bit. Just like going to a mean massage therapist, it'll be worth it in the end. So a little bit of foam rolling or lacrosse ball right into that area, minute or two, come back up. So that's step one. We just addressed the stiffness in the front side. Now, let's address number two, which is going to be the glutes. Inactive or poorly coordinated glutes. Now, this does not mean that the glutes are necessarily weak. It just means that they're not turning on appropriately at the right time and the right intensity. So what we can do is a bridge. I'm gonna use just a natural hip circle band from Slingshot. We're gonna put that around the knees. We're gonna get down and do a bridge. So feet in that position, okay? We're driving the feet hard into the ground. Pick the hips up, squeeze your glutes like crazy. I want a 5 to 10 second hold in this position, and then back down. Now, two things. If your hamstrings start cramping, you have two options. First one, bring your heels closer to your body. That's gonna decrease the amount of stretch or the length of your hamstrings. They can't contribute as much in a shortened position to hip extension, so you're gonna get a little bit more glute activity right there. Second thing you can do is you can also try to drive your toes into the ground a little bit more and perform this action. So we're gonna try to turn on the quads slightly, which then turns the hamstrings off. The only thing left to contribute to hip extension is your glutes. 5-10 second hold, and then back down. So that's number two. Now the next thing that we're gonna do is get that core to turn on, the anterior abdominals. What we're gonna do is a modified sit-up. This is called the McGill Modified Curl-Up. This is something that we've discussed before as a part of the McGill Big Three. Now the reason this is so helpful is because we're working the anterior abdominals without overly relying on the hip flexors. Now, if you were to do a regular crunch or curl up, the motion of bringing your trunk towards your thighs is in part performed by your hip flexors. So if those are already over relied upon or overactive, we don't want to use those. We want to be able to take those out of the equation. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to drop one of them. We're going to put your hands underneath your low back. Okay? We're gonna brace your core like someone's gonna punch you in the stomach. Then I want you to pick your head up just slightly, just like that. And from here, you're just gonna hold this for 10 seconds. And then back down. And what you're gonna do is while you're up there, you're gonna take small sips of air in and out of your mouth like you have a straw in your mouth. So up, 10 seconds, feeling those anterior abdominals working really hard. And then back down. Now, in doing this, we're not going to stretch your low back muscles. we are going to affect the glutes and the anterior abdominals, and in doing so, those low back muscles will effectively turn off. They won't be turned on or over facilitated as much, but we don't need to stretch those low back muscles like that. There is one exercise you can do if you want that can sometimes help decrease some of that tension in the low back, and that's the cat camel. So from right here, all you're going to do is arch a little bit and then down a little bit. Now the big thing that you're working on is you're not pushing into end range and stretching. You're just putting a little bit of grease on the joints. We're just moving it slightly through range, like that, maybe 20 or so times. So that is the cat camel. So effectively, all 4 of those areas are going to be addressed. We're going to address the tight hip flexors, the stiffness that you feel, but we're not going to stretch. We're going to do some soft tissue mobilization. We're then going to get the inactive or poorly coordinated glutes turned on with a bridge, holding for 5 to 10 seconds, doing a number of reps. You're then going to get your anterior abdominals turned on and engaged, but in a way that's not going to call upon your hip flexors to do the motion like you would if you were doing a curl up. So you're going to do a modified McGill curl up, which is an isometric for the anterior abdominals. And then you can also do the cat camel to loosen up some of those tissues of your low back that may be stiff, but you're not going to stretch them again. So if you can attack it all 3 ways, or all 4 ways, effectively you're going to address that lower cross syndrome in a way that is going to efficiently and effectively address those tight hip flexors that first you were only trying to stretch and it wasn't working. So I hope you guys liked today's quick YouTube video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. Please like, comment on the video. Let me know if you liked it or if there's anything else you want to learn about in next week's video. Until then, guys, happy squatting.
They say that energy flows where attention goes, so I pay no mind. Why waste my time with all these negative cats scratching? So caught up in their egos, these people have lost.